Hello, welcome back to our weekly astrology updates, our astrological forecast. And we are beginning to now really shift gears and move into some new areas. We've been slowly kind of moving through these times due to our retrogrades. We had both Mercury and Venus retrograde, and we've been in this sleepy, fuzzy, maybe confusing, maybe unmotivated, maybe more intuitive, less action, maybe less motivated on the physical plane. But we still have all of these, all of this whole area here in Pisces. Neptune, we talked about this several times, has now just been ushered in. Venus and Mercury were ahead of Neptune. They retrograded and then went back in. It's kind of like they had to clear the path for this grand entry, this grand planetary movement. Hasn't been there 165 years, so it's got to have some kind of grand movement. It's about to start a whole new cycle. So Neptune is now leading the pack, and then Mercury just passed it, and it's going to, it did, and now it's on its third pass. It's going to pass it again. It's going to conjunct it and then move into Aries. So what we've been into is let me just go a little bit with our Mercury. Our Mercury energy has been in Pisces, and our thinking processes have been, more intuitive, visual, imaginative. We've been more attuned to our emotional world, our emotional side, which, flavors a little bit of both our thoughts and the way we communicate. Um, our guesses and hunches are better. We express ourselves with more flowery imagery and tend to make our decisions more intuitively. So, that being said, we're also attracted to more conscious raising information. And being that Mercury has been here, we've been forced to look at things differently, slow it down, become more intuitive, and hopefully connect to one another, connect to the quantum. So this is, I think, been the bigger purpose of Mercury and Pisces. It's like, we don't always enjoy being pinned down or labeled, but this has given us a little break from the logical black and white terms of everything being one way or the other. It's more of a blending. And I think this period has just been real fuzzy on so many levels. And, we maybe need time to uh, assimilate a little bit, to kind of regenerate, to be alone, to maybe, go through yourself, to maybe detox a little bit. But now Mercury is just on the cusp of moving into Aries, this week, tomorrow. And then when it's in Aries, we're less concerned with objective viewpoints and explanations. We have more, are concerned are with reaching a decision quickly. Remember, it's Aries. Our thoughts and ideas are inventive. They're new. They're pioneering. We tend to speak more spontaneously and direct. Planet of communication is aggressive, bold, assertive. Um, Creative, innovative, and it's also intuitive. It's a different type of intuition where Pisces is is like the whole intuitive field. Aries is intuitively, it just flashes in and it's there. Boom. It's a time of quick, impatient, hurried decisions, mental, or maybe a little bit more mental, competitive, maybe a little bit more quick. Maybe we're a little more defensive or combative in our responses. Our communications usually are more direct, honest, and uncomplicated. We don't want to muck things up. We've been there, So in the sense, it could be more blunt or more insensitive. So we also prefer to learn more through our personal experiences, not instruction. Where Pisces, they're the same but different. Pisces wants to just get it through the ethers. It just wants to know. And Aries wants to learn it on its own. Let me do it. Don't get in my way. Yeah, right. So with that being said, Mercury, as soon as it goes into Aries, it's going to conjunct Neptune. So we've got this, we've had this back and forth. It was in Pisces, now it'll be in Aries. So this forces our thinking and communications maybe onto spiritual topics. It could be more clear. Some of these mysteries, occult things, secrets, things behind the scenes could be cleared up. It could be enhancing your imagination and creativity. You could be bringing it more to the surface. Things that maybe were a little foggy are now becoming more clear. So insights that you've gained maybe through, you know, journaling, dream time, meditation, um, are now hitting the road. There may be more coming into actually to view. So Mercury conjuncting Neptune can also impact your thinking and communications, both. I think it'll clear up being able to force to focus on forming opinions, rather than before being, I don't know. There's too many unknowns. I think it's going to start to clear up. So sometimes there's more insights that start to, from this your psychic perception, it could come in quicker. The negative part of some of this is could be more that things are maybe twisted or a little bit misconception, words are twisted or heard wrong. Neptune, it can be, maybe it's irrational, maybe there's some a little confusion or speaking, trying to speak with clarity, but there also could be some deceit, lies, betrayals, poison, and all underhanded types of tactics. So be careful of that for sure. So these are some of the trends, we've got coming into this week. So we can see right now, Mercury is right here at the end of Pisces. And you can see we've got some endings. We've got some things that are going to change. Look at, we've got Mercury here. We've got Venus here at the end. We've got the sun at the end. We've got Uranus at the end and Mars at the end. One, two, three, four, five. Um, five right away, and then Saturn, six, and then your blah blah blah. Jupiter is going to be seven. So all of these are going to change, and I'm going to just step through it. So because it's going to fly, and I'm going to do this each time because we have so much happening. We do. Okay, so coming into today, Tuesday, we can see Mercury is right at the end. Look at it, it was like 44 minutes, and then we'll go into um, tomorrow. And our moon, it's like today we're finishing up in Scorpio and investigating, getting to the bottom of things, rooting things out. The moon's not, it's in its fall here, but it is also because it's a sister water sign, it's not quite so hard as, it kind of buffers that fall position that the moon's in. So it could be used to really focus and investigate and get into things and um, feel, and then kind of have that little maybe precognition there, because then the moon will then trine Neptune tomorrow when Mercury goes into Aries. So it's like things kind of happen together. So there we go. So you can see here that, I mean, I could have went back a little bit, but you can see the moon um, moved into here, Mercury trine. Let's just actually see if it did that before it moved. That'd be kind of interesting if it trined it before Mercury got there. Go back, back, back. Did it? It's still, yep. Oh no, look at it, moon moves in here. And Mercury is still in, so moon trines Neptune and then Mercury comes in. I mean, almost at the exact degree. I mean, look at it, it's probably, I could probably go minutes here. Wait a minute, it's 59. So let's do it. Come on, Mercury. And it's 59. Oh, there it goes. Okay. So look, it's still, the moon is at 1 degree. It just passes when the moon passes over. I mean, not just passes over. It trines over to the Mercury and Neptune. So this is very interesting. So time is it 2 in the morning. So if you're hearing this tonight, this is kind of a very interesting fire energy. We've got maybe you can maybe around this time or before you go to bed, this, the moon is moving into that aspect of creating that fire resonance with Mercury and Neptune being together in Aries. So this, we've got some firsts for a while. We haven't probably had this aspect in a long time. Mercury and conjunct Neptune in Aries with the moon trining that. Okay. I just I just have to point these out because we have so many cool aspects coming up. Like even like little things like this. So anyway, I think that's pretty neat. All right, moving on. Okay, we talked about that. So Thursday, we're moving into Thursday. So we have the Mercury has already passed now, conjuncted Neptune. And then where's Mars? It's almost there. Okay, so yeah, there it is. Mars is almost at the end of Cancer and into Leo. So um, Mars and Leo. Well, but when Mars is in Cancer, where it is now, it's been there too. So we've had this, hanging out in these water signs. It's like when Mars is in Cancer, we're pursuing our interests ardently, but we avoid the direct approach, you know, in going after. We kind of uh, we want to still be in the shell kind of, or to not be so direct because it's not the favorite place of Mars. So our goals and plans, we can are subject to mood swings and vacillation. Mars, instead of going straight toward what it wants, it's like, well, I don't know. The moon's in another sign now, so I'm gonna just chill. So Mars and I think when it's at this time, we get to be more defensive rather than overtly aggressive. So much of what we do kind of depends on our mood at the moment. So when it moves into Leo, that Mars is in its sister sign. So it's all proud, self-confident, grand. We're like, we have grand goals. We're up on our soapbox. We're spirited. We go after what we want more in a direct, self-assured manner. So we want dramatic results. We're not going to worry about details so much, and we take the least complicated route. We want more direct, route to our goals. Sex drive is stronger. Passion for life is high. So these things are really coming up, and that's going to just dovetail in with the planets that are going through Aries. Too bad the sun is now almost done, but it's probably better that it kind of moves into Taurus because we get all of this aggressive Aries energy. So the Neptune being there, and then Mercury diving in, and then the sun, I mean, then Mars, there we go, um, are going to all be in compatible signs. And then now the moon, starting all this with, going into Sagittarius is making a grand trine in fire signs. So we have moon, Neptune, Mercury, and Mars all trining. Mhm. So think about that a second. Neptune, that intuitiveness now, fog is lifting, and Mercury being right there, you can maybe communicate those things. And with the moon and Sag, I love moon and Sag. It's going to just give, emotional energy to this. And then Mars moving into Leo, it's like roar. So this is really powerful. So coming into, Thursday late, this is going to be coming in. Because the moon is going to be in Sag and it's going to be in orb, and then Mars is going to be almost right there, and it's all going to be right there. So I would just start feeling this, in Thursday, and then into Friday. But Mars trining Neptune also stimulates like sensuality, creativity, and like a community spirit. Maybe there's strong magnetic attractiveness to something. We got Mars, the energy, and then Neptune. Um, it could be a good romance. It could be sexual encounters. It could be, those can be intense, compassionate, tender, spiritual. You'll likely to be maybe attract a less aggressive but more spiritual part of yourself at that time. So it may be not real high energy, but it may be more creativity. You might be put more into creativeness, rhythm, dance, music, anything on a creative level can be inspired. Get that Mars energy. to bring that creativity in. Maybe religious or spiritual activities, groups of people, astrology. It's not really aggressive, but it's like strongly spirited, kind of. Um, Maybe battles can be won through kindness instead of than attacking people. Maybe people will be standing up more for the underdog or the downtrodden of the world, seeing how the whole world is a scapegoat of the globalists, of people that have, just so much power, they just lost all connection to humanity. So maybe these things are being broken down and then rebuilt. Um, to bring more strong moral and ethical things to the forefront. Definitely. All right. What else we got going on here? Venus on Friday, we got a lot of things coming up, like coming in here and then on Sunday, but we've got our third our Venus trine I'm sorry, Venus sextile Uranus. So we have, we have a couple dates on that. Yeah, it was April 20th. Let's see, the first one was January 26th, April 7th, when it was Venus went retrograde, and now it's direct and it'll trine it again. So we can see it right here. It's just at these nice signs. And Venus being here, exalted, lovely Venus loves to be here and getting the most out of Uranus. So um kind of stimulates our need to have fun, maybe being a little bit more exciting in social life or in your love life, or better ways of use of your money, or more creative ways. Also, it's a good time, maybe there be some unexpected windfall or uh, something something comes up with your money interest. So it's important to maintain our personal freedom and friends, but then um, we could be saving that to kind of funnel that into something that's maybe something new and shiny that we want. It's a sextile Uranus. It's a good thought with Uranus. Original things, new breakthroughs in art and creativity. It's another creative artistic connection. We had the Neptune Mars, now Venus Uranus. So they're similar but different. So it's like more breakthroughs, because Uranus is similar to Mars in that it's lively action, moving. So we could also express um, our nature maybe with a little extra bling or a little extra uniqueness, in Uranian. Maybe we can attract eager people or more equally interesting people. Um, Lack of inhibition, if you're naturally shy, some of the inhibitions might just melt away. Sometimes this is a good time to maybe make new friends and lovers. Um, it could also it could favor like an instant attraction and like a shortcut to the bedroom on that flings and that kind of stuff because it's love and sex style good out of the blue. So just watch that. Um, it's just to kind of it lets that free spiritedness go. Um, yeah, yeah. That being said, that is there too. Yeah. All right. Anything else on Friday? Well, we got our moon. This is kind of maybe the only little fly in the ointment coming into Saturday. It's like then late Friday, then the moon moves into Capricorn. So it's just a little bit of some reality check there. That's why I said some of that spontaneous, like it's like, oh, I'm so in love. It's like, well, just wait till the aspect is over. That's all I gotta say. That little bit of Saturn moon just might just throw a little dose of cold water in there. Or a little reality. It's like, are you really? All right. So coming into Saturday, um, now Mars is trining Neptune. So here we've got that interesting, um, unaggressive, nice spiritual kind of energy. So we got like these trines, sextiles, motivation here again, more energy. That's what I was saying, more to the creativeness. We've got a few of these coming up. Get busy with your dreams. Your heart could just be rushing into all kinds of spiritual things and, pulling it out of the ethers. This is really a magical time. And again, this is still a time when all the planets are direct. So really bring these ideas and formulate stuff because they start to turn retrograde. When is Pluto? It's like real soon. It's like 1st of May. Pluto goes May 4th. Yeah, May the 4th be with you. That's when Pluto, we start into retrograde season. So just FYI. Okay, back to the 19th and coming into Sunday, an Easter Sunday. Anything else about this day? So coming into Sunday, we've got the a little bit of the serious Capricorn moon, but then it changes into Aquarius and the moon goes over Pluto. And that's a little that's a little um maybe emotionally different or I'm doing this for the good of all kind of energy. But other than that, there's a way more going on Sunday. So we have the Venus conjunct or sextile Uranus. So we come into with that. And then it's also conjunct the North Node sextile Uranus. So where we're going could be a little different than where maybe we're thinking. Some things could come up out of the blue, but see, then it's just on the other side of that, it just butts up against Saturn. So there's maybe a little structure, a little reality, a little putting things into perspective, making the dream real even. It's like, okay, we got the dream with Uranus, it's up there at the North Node where we're going, where it's feeling a little uncomfortable. We're used to the South Node stuff, but we're going to the North Node as a collective. And then Saturn is there. But Venus, this is a melty, easy place for Saturn here. It's really mushy, and Venus loves to be here, and it can sweet talk Daddy Saturn, and I think mush it out, kind of diffuse it. And it's like, oh, just sit down. Let's relax with me. Let's have some chocolate, let's some chocolate milk, whatever. And let's put some structure to this. Let's sit down together and put some structure to this dream before, it becomes a reality. So that's really important. And then Mercury over here now is there's Pluto is sextiling Pluto. So look, we have Moon in Uranus, and then we have Pluto and Mercury. So we've got a lot of outer to inner planets connections this week. So when we have outer to inner planet, it's really bringing that whole generational, thing for everyone to everyone. It's being it personal. It's abroad and it's personal. It's personal to everyone, and especially if you have planets at these degrees, it'd be good to know what that is and then see how that's affecting you. But bringing communication to the depths, right? We've got Mercury in Aries. It wants to be direct, and then we have Pluto. It also has, like, how would I say, Mercury have some. It kind of, I said it like it adds a depth to thinking, to conversation. Mercury sextile Pluto, it's like more serious topics, mysteries can get your attention. Pluto research, probing into your mind, uncovering secrets, blabbing secrets. Secrets might be revealed, things coming out. It's kind of a strange magnetic, depthy conversation. It's powerful too. It's just also be careful of not abusing or people taking advantages of lesser people. What else with that? It's like where Mercury kind of gets, like, Mercury in Aries is like, all right, I want to be done with this. Pluto has that little bit more of a techie ability and can kind of hang with things, so they can work together. Aries in Mercury and Aries can be bringing in a lot of the information, and then that depth of Pluto and Uranus can be um, assimilating it um, for the betterment of yourself and for all. So these are like a double sextiles of, there's four planets involved, right? All right there. Very, very interesting. Actually, five, we count Saturn there, it's right there too. All right, to what those, the moon moves into Aquarius later in the day, and then will also, the sun will also square, where is it? Not yet, though. Let's see. Let's go forward. Um, there it is. On Monday, the sun, it's coming into, the sun will square. Actually, the sun moves into Taurus, on Sunday as well, later in the day. Sun squares, there it is. Yeah, they both move together. Sun squares Mars. So sun squaring Mars, it could be giving a little bit of energy to that. We got the sun in Taurus. It's like, relax, a little bit lazy, but then Mars gives it a little, right when it moves in there, it's like, nope, we got to like liven things up. We got a little drama here. We got a little liveliness as the sun ingresses into that next sign, on its way to meet up with Uranus. So, gosh, there's so much going on. By the end of this month, Mars will make its opposition to Pluto. We can see here it's almost there, and this will be the third pass. Remember, President Trump was one of the days that he was, I think, he was shot right before, was close to that in his chart. So we've got another one of these aspects coming up. Sunday starts, it's close, and then as we get into next week, perfect. It's on the 26th, actually. And then Venus, we see Venus is almost, it's almost here. It's going to be moving into Aries, so it's going to go over North Node, Saturn, and then it will conjunct Neptune in Aries. It already conjuncted it for the last time in Pisces, and then Neptune moved into Aries, and it'll conjunct it again in Aries. So it was they conjuncted on the backswing, kind of that last little bit of intuitiveness of pulling things out, and then it's like things are going to hit the road. So we got many things telling us, the rubber is going to hit the road, ideas are going to hit the paper, it's going to hit stuff is going to come out. You're going to manifest things. It's going to start to change. These things are, in your life, depending on how the aspects are in your chart, but definitely in our world, even more so. So you can see many different ways of the same thing kind of going over. Moving on into May, we'll have the Venus going over Neptune. Like I said, it'll be on the 2nd. And then on May 4th, Pluto goes retrograde. And then May 5th, we have Mercury making a sextile, another one of those sextiles. I just got a heads up, which is nice. These like a lot of communications with Jupiter. So now we've got another, I mean, it's not an outer planet, but it's just another planet involved. We got lots of stuff being stirred up here. I'll hit the big ones so I don't get into too many at the moment. But what I wanted to, we got lots of those inner planet movements, but to the outers as well. But lastly, today, I just want to bring your attention to, let me just go June, May, and let's see, June, but I want you to go June 9th. We have one more planetary change. Look at, right, let's go actually one more day. Late on the 9th, on the 10th, Jupiter moves into Cancer. So what we have in that is, this is big because we got so many planets moving into masculine signs. Jupiter's moving, into a feminine sign. So it's kind of keeping us a little bit more in that grounded, that feminine, but it's in water. So it's going to be more, how do I say, it's going to go back to our intuition. It's back to that watery stuff, instead of the Pisces, now we got the Cancer, honor our intuition, our emotion, our inner needs. We're still having this emphasis. So the Jupiter and Cancer cycle for the next year is kind of going to take place of, the Mars in Cancer. Mars is there. Now Jupiter's going to be there. So we have more emphasis on our emotions, our instincts. Um, the good fortune is going to be, to accumulate, to save, to comfort others. It's going to be on real estate, children, or childcare, really getting into what's going on with children and this whole child pedophile bullshit that's been going on. It's going to get to this more of the root of that because people are going to really feel it more about the eternal mother of us all. Our food industry can be really prosperous. That's what we need. Hopefully, some of this administration will start things in the right direction, but nonetheless, we are all getting more information in this area and can make demands and clean up this crap, clean up our skies, clean up our food, clean up this nanotech, clean up this hydrogel, clean up these chemtrails, all this heavy metals and all this stuff and 5G that's just being perpetrated way too much. So with this, with the water sign, Jupiter in a water sign, it's going to instill much more of a belief in a higher power. We can, Jupiter loves to be here. It's exalted here, so it's going to be able to attract luck through our intuition, our imagination. Back to that, compassion, helping those in need. It's like we're more inclined to believe that emotional intelligence is the major key to solving problems. Connecting intimately and intuitively and on the quantum level is big. We'll be more interested in learning about our true roots, our true family and tradition. We might value in real estate, homes, expanding our home, building the home. The whole home thing is going to be reevaluated. Mortgages, homes, value, what that all means is going to be under the growth and expansion this year for sure. Food, comfort food, pampering ourselves. Also watch manipulation and controlling things, roundabout behaviors, clinging behaviors, excessive clannishness, also, being real clingy, that Cancerian stuff, and controlling, emotionally controlling, watch that. What else? That's basically it on that. And then one more thing, I guess gotta have to go because we gotta give the heads up. And then the next month, let's do it this way. In July, I think it's the 7th. Yep. Yeah, like late 7th on the 8th, Uranus moves into Gemini. Venus will have just moved in, ushering. Look at that. Look at it. Let me go back a couple days. Venus, July 4th. Yeah, there's another fun day, right? July 4th, Venus in her home sign, in Taurus, going over Uranus in Taurus. They're both there in Taurus. Voila. Venus goes over, and then there it goes. Uranus goes into Gemini, moves. It ushers Venus, ushers it in. Venus ushered Neptune in. Now it's ushering in Uranus. So when Uranus is in Gemini, it's going to get a bit crazy. It's kind of it's like it's very inventive, it's very intuitive as well. We got that underlined as and perceptive. We're not bound to tradition here. And this is going to be kind of contrary, but this will be here for the next 7 years. It'll be a little contrary at first to Jupiter in Cancer, wants to be home and tradition, and this is like untradition, make progress, maybe new ways of home, and Uranus is again sudden changes, shocking news or events, estrangements, changes of fortune, progress, new orders, accidents. It could be stirring up our ideas again, learning more, communications. Um, a lot of communications. If you're not on social media or 2, 3, 4 of them, you probably will be. More of them. It revolutionizes transportation, communication systems, and our sense of connectedness. So this can kind of dovetail in with the universal family because it is our sense of connectedness. There can be great progress, but there's a lot of unpredictability. Learning and education and anything electronic can be disrupted. Power can be disrupted, changed. Things can be come in that are non-traditional. Um, we need to be open-minded and a little bit of adaptable within this, but still hold to what we feel is truth. Um, what else is going on here? There could be more movement, more migration, more busyness in general, sudden changes in alliances. With the world alliances, people could align differently. Friends can be aligned differently. Um, it could also be when there could be more short journeys. There could be more exchange, trade, transportation, surveillance, learning, continue to develop things, surprises, disruptive, curiousness, interest in different things, staying young, being flexible, breaking through inhibitions or taboos, sharing ideas, education. Nervous energy can also be really extreme. It can be time of liberation as well as disruption. With all this type of energy, it's really important to stay grounded, to stay hydrated, maybe put a pinch of salt and baking soda for minerals, not really for minerals, but for the electric charge in your water. Um, Making sure that you have a good mineral supplement, a good trace mineral supplement. I like cherry mins from longevity. I also like trace minerals. I like shilajit. I think it's all important. I think Epsom salt baths. I think grounding, making sure that we're really good with our electromagnetic field, shutting your phone off, shutting your Wi-Fi off, hardwiring your computers, Ethernet, being respectful of the electromagnetic fields, because when Uranus goes into Gemini, it can go off the wall. It can get really crazy. People can get, I think, electronic pollution, electronic sicknesses. I think a lot of things we're seeing now are electronic sickness. So, we need to support our bodies with enough minerals. We need to be taking good quality iodine. We need to be getting our copper levels up. We need to make sure we have enough magnesium. These are all key minerals for, nourishing our body on such deep levels. Okay, that is, a busy week. We got this couple weeks here ushering in this time, and make use of it before planets start to go, retrograde. But don't stop doing things. It's just going to make you cautious that some of the aggressive forward energy might slow down, which would probably be good because of we need to assimilate how fast we're going to be moving into different areas. So just one last look at this chart. Oh, I didn't even mention Saturn moving into Aries. It had just done it before that too. But look, it's going to get real close, but they won't perfect until February 2026. Um, Check out Astrology Podcast. Chris Brennan. They do, I think, an 8 hour. I'm like halfway through it, like kind of a seminar on um, Saturn, Neptune. It's like they conjunct, or yeah, every like 36 years. And they went through like 2,500 years ago, all these cycles, and looked at world events. It's fascinating. Um, but yeah, look at everything's different, and look at the pairing up is different. All the signs are different. It's going to be very different in a few months, and it's going to happen fast. All right. It's exciting. It's very exciting. So, really absorb these times. This is very important time that we're living in, to try to do everything as consciously as we can, to speak to people as consciously as you can, to be in every moment, because our conscious thoughts are so important to direct the trajectory of our species of humanity. We are at a crossroads. We are at a point in history we've never been at. These times are unprecedented. And there's also a good interview with Rick Levine and Steve Judd. I think it's on YouTube, but that's a very, very fascinating interview about the times ahead, the different sextiles, but they touch on so many good things. Good stuff. All right. Hope this helps, and we will see you all next time. Thank you for being here. Bye for now.